Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going kind of way out there. We're going to be looking at the future of music in 2025.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of sources. We've been reading articles from all the music industry experts and then some blogs that had some really interesting thoughts. And then we even found an interview from a music industry CEO that had a lot of interesting stuff to say.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we're going to be diving into all that and really trying to unpack what's going to happen with music in 2025. So if you're a casual listener or a seasoned pro, I think there's going to be something interesting in here for you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the whole music ecosystem kind of changes, not just the music itself, but, like how it's created and how we experience it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's start with, I guess, the topic that's kind of on everybody's mind these days, and that's artificial intelligence, or AI, as all the cool kids are calling it.
Right.
It's everywhere, right? From helping artists generate melodies to, some would say faking them. So it's making production way more accessible, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's also, creating some friction. We're even seeing some legal battles pop up around this.
Yeah, there's some major labels that are suing AI music companies, like Udio and Suno.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I think that kind of signals a potential turning point in how we value art, in this age of artificial intelligence. It's really like the old school versus the new school.
Yeah, totally. And then, we can't forget about the whole Spotify ambient music thing.
Right.
Where, there were playlists that were being taken over by these AI-generated tracks.
Totally.
And, some people are saying, hey, these are convincing, but is it really capturing the soul of human creativity?
Yeah. it raises a really crucial question, like, as we're moving into this world of AI-generated music, like, how are we going to define what is human?
Right.
Like, how are we going to value that?
Yeah, that's a really good point. But it's not just AI that's changing things, right?
Yeah.
Like genres are, it seems like all over the place. Things are kind of blurring together.
Yeah, it's really interesting because while we're seeing like a lot of this fusion of genres, like things are coming together and kind of blurring, we're also seeing like the resurgence of older styles.
Yeah.
And I think streaming and social media plays a huge role in this because it's kind of bringing back sounds from the past and then introducing it to a whole new audience.
Yeah, it's like a musical time machine.
It is.
You can just look at the Billboard charts and see all these trends happening.
Yeah.
Like we've got the resurgence of 2000s pop, like bringing sexy back.
Mm-hmm.
We've got dark wave coming up with, it's got a darker, moodier sound.
Yeah.
Then there's all these like global sounds. We got Afro house and Afro beats, piano.
Yes.
Even like hyperpop and shoegaze are still going strong.
Totally.
So it's pretty crazy what's happening out there.
I think what's even more fascinating to me is the rise of this like nicheification. So it's like, imagine everybody just curating their own like micro genres.
Oh, wow.
So they're like hyper specific sounds and moods.
Interesting.
And it's really reflective of, I think, how we consume music now. It's less about like fitting into a box and it's more about like finding that perfect vibe.
Yeah.
For each moment.
Yeah. It's like, instead of just listening to like rock, you're listening to like melancholic sunset rock.
Exactly.
Or like rainy day.
Coffee shop, indie,
Yeah,
exactly. And speaking of finding your vibe, like, Spotify has taken personalized listening to a whole new level with these day lists.
Oh yeah, I love those.
Which are these AI generated playlists that change like every day based on like your listening habits.
Yeah.
And they have like these really specific names too, like goth synthesizer dark wave or Fruitiger Arrow abstract Detroit techno.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are awesome.
It's like having your own like soundtrack that's tailored to your mood.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. So we've got AI that's really pushing boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got genres that are just like constantly changing and it's just like all over the place. But there's an even bigger shift that's happening.
Ooh.
And I think this one is like changing the whole landscape of the music industry as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about the decline of traditional superstardom.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think about the bigger picture, it makes sense, people are less enamored by like celebrities these days.
Mm-hmm.
I think, with everything that's going on in the world.
Right. There's kind of like this disillusionment, especially, with the way the economy is, people are like struggling. And then they see these like mega rich stars. And it's just like, it feels very out of touch.
Yeah, and I think streaming and social media have kind of like leveled the playing field in a way where it's given more artists the opportunity to connect directly with their audiences. They're kind of bypassing like the traditional gatekeepers.
Right.
So it's really kind of democratized the industry in a way that I think we haven't seen before.
Yeah, totally. And then there's this whole like SoundCloud revival that seems to be happening.
Right.
I mean, could this actually be like a viable alternative to the giants like Spotify and Apple Music?
Right.
Especially with, all the subscription costs are going up.
Right.
I mean, they even have this new Ascending Artists program.
Right.
But like, is it really going to be able to compete?
I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
Because they have had their challenges, but I think they're tapping into something for sure. I mean, they were like one of the pioneers in like artist-driven platforms.
Yeah.
And, this new program that they have is all about supporting like up-and-coming musicians, So I think the industry is definitely ripe for like disruption. And I wouldn't count SoundCloud out just yet. They might have something up their sleeve.
Yeah, interesting.
It's almost like the old model of superstardom. Where it's like top down, it's like fading away. And we're seeing like, this more like grassroots, community driven, approach. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it really is. It's like the power dynamics are totally shifting.
Totally.
Which is, one of the biggest trends. And it's not just, WHO has the power that's changing.
Right, right.
But also like how we experience music.
Yeah.
And we talked about AI earlier, but another tech trend that's making a big splash is spatial audio and 3D mixing.
Yes.
And, imagine you're listening to your favorite album, but instead of just hearing it, you're like enveloped by the sound.
Oh, wow.
That's the power of spatial audio.
Yeah. And it's something that you're going to be seeing a lot more of, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it really goes beyond like the traditional left and right channels. Of stereo. So instead of just like sound coming from two speakers, it's moving all around you, above you, below you. Like you're inside the music.
Whoa.
You're not just listening to it.
I mean, that would completely change how you connect with the music.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, the difference between watching a movie and like being in the movie.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is that this is becoming more accessible.
Totally.
I mean, there's advances in software and hardware are making it easier for artists to experiment with these like immersive soundscapes.
Yeah.
So you can expect to hear a lot more music produced this way.
Definitely. And streaming platforms are getting on board too.
Yeah.
I mean, more and more devices are like supporting spatial audio. So, it's really becoming a much richer listening experience. It's like you're not just, passively listening anymore. You're actively immersed.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, speaking of experience.
Yes.
Let's talk about live music.
Okay.
I mean, it's faced some challenges lately, like rising costs, venues closing down, the allure of at-home entertainment.
Right.
It's tough out there.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on, there's just something about the energy of a live show.
Oh, yeah.
That you just can't replicate.
There's this magic, that's like you can't get it anywhere else. This shared experience, the connection between the artist and the audience.
Yeah.
In real time, you can feel the energy in the room.
Yeah.
It's really, it's what keeps people coming back for more.
For sure. I mean, and the numbers back it up. There's a Spotify report recently that showed 74% of young people went to a concert in the past year.
Oh, wow.
That's huge.
That's awesome.
So it just goes to show, like, live music's not dead. It's just evolving.
It's changing.
Yeah.
I mean, look at, like, the Eras tour.
Oh, yeah.
From Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Like, that was a cultural phenomenon. Yeah. It was a testament to, like, the power of a well-crafted live experience, It wasn't just a concert. It was like an event. It was a spectacle.
Totally.
And it really resonated with millions of fans.
And it really proves that, even in this world of streaming and like virtual experiences,
right,
people still crave that real life connection.
Yeah. And artists are finding, really creative ways to adapt. I mean, we're seeing like the rise of these album listening parties as like a new form of like live engagement.
Oh, wow.
It's like the old school listening parties, but, with the 2025 twist.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So it's like fans come together to like experience this new album in a shared space.
Yeah. It's all about like creating these moments.
Yeah.
These shared experiences.
Yeah. It just makes it more special.
Yeah.
I think it speaks to like that, like the enduring power of community. Like we need that connection. It transcends, the digital world.
I totally agree. Well, okay. So we've talked about how AI is reshaping music production.
Right.
We've talked about genres that are just like constantly evolving and changing.
Yeah.
We've seen how the power dynamics of the music industry are shifting and how live music is finding new ways to connect.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's clear that the music landscape is in a constant state of flux.
Oh, for sure. It's like a painting that's always changing, like you can never really capture it. It's always transforming.
Yeah, it really is. Well, I mean, what does this all mean?
Right.
What are the big takeaways here?
Yeah.
Like for somebody who's trying to navigate the music landscape of 2025, I mean, are you an aspiring artist? Are you a seasoned industry pro? Or are you just a passionate music fan?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the key insights here is that authenticity is like more important than ever.
Okay.
In this world that's just saturated with music, it's the artists that are like really connecting with their audience.
Oh, yes.
And creating something unique and meaningful that are going to stand out. It's not just about following trends.
Right.
It's about like having a vision and a voice.
Yeah. So like being true to yourself, finding your unique sound, and like connecting with your audience on a real level.
Yes.
That's key to success.
Totally.
In this, always changing landscape.
And that applies whether you're, a musician or a music fan even.
Yeah. So, I mean, as we wrap up this part of our, deep dive into the music trends of 2025,
yeah,
it feels like we're on the cusp of something big.
It does.
There's a lot of change.
Yeah.
A lot of uncertainty, but also a lot of potential.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an exciting time to be, exploring the world of music.
It really is. It's like we're seeing a fundamental shift.
Yeah.
In how music is created, consumed, and experienced. It's like a revolution in sound.
Totally.
And it's only just beginning.
So, we've talked about a lot of these like really cool trends that are shaping the music industry in 2025.
Yeah.
But there's one that we keep like circling back to that I think is really like making me think.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, the rise of AI.
Right.
Because it's not just changing how W music is made.
Right.
But it's like it's raising these questions about like what music is.
Yeah, totally.
Or like what it could become.
Yeah, it really adds another layer to everything we've been talking about,
Yeah.
We've talked about like the industry disruption, but like it also raises these like really philosophical questions about like creativity in itself.
Yeah, like can AI like truly replicate like human artistry?
Right.
And that's like, I don't know. There's no easy answer to that.
And it's a question that like, the more we explore AI and like what it can do,
right,
the more nuanced I think that conversation is going to become.
Yeah, totally. Because it's like, what does it even mean to be creative, right?
Right.
Like, is it about technical skill? Is it about emotional expression? Is it about originality? Or is it something else entirely?
Right.
And then like, how do we even measure those things when like AI is able to produce music that like, I mean, honestly sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I've heard some AI generated tracks that are like incredibly catchy and well produced.
Totally.
And it just like makes you wonder, like, what does the future hold?
Right. Like what's going to happen
for human musicians?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it really challenges like our assumptions of what makes music, art in general, so special. Like,
yeah.
It really forces us to kind of re-examine what we value in creativity and like what's the role of the artist.
So are we headed to this future where like, algorithms are just churning out all the hits?
Yeah.
And like human artists are struggling to keep up? Like, is that the inevitable outcome of all this?
I don't think it's that simple.
Okay.
Because like technology is a tool.
Right.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really up to us, as creators and as consumers to shape how AI is integrated into this musical landscape.
So we're not just like, passive observers in this like sonic revolution that's happening. Like we actually get to kind of help shape it.
Yeah, we have a choice.
Yeah.
You know, we have the power to decide how this technology is going to be used and what role it plays in the future of music.
That's empowering, but like also kind of daunting.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's a lot of responsibility.
It is a responsibility, but it's also like this incredible opportunity because we have this chance to like really make sure that music remains like this powerful force, you know, for connection and expression and creativity, even in this world that's becoming like more and more shaped by technology.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the music trends of 2025, it feels like, you know, we're kind of standing at a crossroads.
Yeah.
You know, we see all this change, all this uncertainty, but also like so much possibility.
So much possibility. It's like, yeah, I think that's what makes this such a fascinating time to be like exploring the world of music.
Yeah.
You know, it's dynamic, it's evolving, and it's really like up to all of us to decide what kind of music we want to create and share and experience.
Totally. Well, dear listener, as you navigate the sonic world of 2025 and beyond, you know, we leave you with this final thought. In a world that's saturated with music, will authenticity be the ultimate differentiator? How will AI shape the future of music? And will it truly ever be able to replicate kind of the magic of human creativity? These are all questions that I think are really worth pondering. And that will definitely like shape the soundscape of the years to come. So thanks for joining us on the deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.